The Tharix Empire had fought in more wars than anyone remembered. Their armor gleamed with centuries of conquests, and their minds were trained to calculate every outcome of combat. Nothing surprised them. Nothing terrified them. Nothing, until they set foot on the planet Vader 9. The reports had been simple: an uncharted world, habitable, primitive life detected, minimal threats, ideal for colonization or testing ground operations. The reality was different. 1. The Deathworlders. The aliens called the inhabitants Deathworlders, a term born not of respect, but of practicality. Any species that survived Vader 9's surface must be extraordinarily resilient, or mad. Radiation storms that could strip flesh in seconds, predators the size of small mountains, and toxic flora that poisoned the air in deceptive ways made survival improbable. Yet the Deathworlders thrived. And worse, they built structures that defied every principle of safety, comfort, and reason. 2. The arrival. The Tharix warriors landed expecting resistance. They found children running barefoot over jagged crystal plains. Elderly figures danced across lava-slick rocks, humming rhythms that warped space with their vibrations. The so-called dwellings were impossible to classify, twisting towers of living stone, trees grafted into bridges, and shelters seemingly grown rather than built. Sensors flared. Structural integrity unstable, a Tharix officer whispered. The commander ignored him. He ordered entry. Free. First contact. A Deathworlder approached. Human-like in shape, but taller, leaner, and strange in motion, moving as though gravity itself were optional. It held no weapons, only a bundle of tools and raw materials. Greetings, it said in harsh tones the Tharix translators barely processed. The Tharix expected fear. They got curiosity. 4. Understanding the dwelling. The warriors were led inside the largest structure, which defied logic. Walls shifted. Floors bent without breaking. The air smelled of iron, ozone, and something faintly sweet. Lights flickered without a power source. The building responded to presence, opening corridors where none had existed before. One warrior muttered, "It moves." The Deathworlders smiled. "Not moves. Adapt." The aliens froze. 5. Adaptive structures. Each room contained life support systems beyond the Tharix technology. Walls contained embedded growth chambers. Kitchens synthesized food from local minerals. Sleeping chambers monitored vital signs and adjusted temperature, gravity, and atmospheric pressure in real time. The Tharix commander frowned. This is a living structure. More than that, the Deathworlder said. It protects. It fights. It survives. Like us. A tremor ran through the alien ranks. They had faced battles. They had destroyed planets. But structures that fought back, structures that lived, that was unprecedented. 6. The test. To demonstrate, the Deathworlder gestured toward a small corner of the dwelling. From nowhere, a massive predator lunged, a jagged, acid-breathing beast. The Deathworlder whispered a word. The walls extended, shifting, wrapping, and slamming the creature with impossible speed. Every attack was anticipated, every movement counted. The aliens could only watch as their senses recorded outcomes that should have been impossible. The commander swallowed. 7. Human lethality embedded in stone. They call this home, one warrior muttered. They weaponize living architecture. The Deathworlder laughed. We call it home. Everything else? Survival. It was not arrogance. It was fact. Every weapon the Tharix had trained to counter, their plasma lancers, gravitic disruptors, and kinetic disintegrators, failed to harm the dwelling. Every tactic their scholars had perfected crumbled in seconds. 8. Realization. The commander stepped back, scanning the walls. The humans who built this, they are not fragile, he admitted. They are not weak. The Deathworlders said simply, they survive because nothing, not gravity, not radiation, not predator, not war, stops them. And their homes are just as alive as they are. The Tharix warriors shifted uneasily. They had faced engineered armies, planetary defenses, ancient weapons buried in starless space. But nothing like this. 9. The lesson in fear. Hours later, after careful study, the Tharix withdrew to their landing ships. They had not been attacked. There was no battle, but their tactical analysis had changed entirely. This species is a different category, one warrior admitted. They do not fight according to known rules. They adapt. They weaponize environment, biology, and technology simultaneously. The commander nodded. They are Deathworlders, he said quietly. Not because they live on a dangerous planet, because they make everything around them lethal, even their homes. 10. Departure and warning. As the Tharix ships prepared to leave, the Deathworlders offered no escort, no final threat, no attempt at persuasion. The commander issued a single transmission back to the Empire. We have witnessed their dwelling. We have recorded their methods. And we recommend no assault, no conquest. Not yet. Not ever. The Tharix scholars argued that exaggeration or fear had influenced the report. The commander refused. He had seen what humans called home. 11. The galaxy takes note. Within weeks, the term Deathworlders became a warning label in galactic intelligence files. Not for their weapons, not for their fleets, not for their numbers, for their resilience, their adaptability, and their homes. Alien species whispered, if you invade, be prepared to fight the house itself. It was no longer about humanity alone. It was about everything they touched. 12. Epilogue, the living legacy. Years later, scouts returned to Vedra 9. The dwelling had evolved. Expansions that the first Tharix saw were now forests of integrated metal and stone. Rooms designed for one species now adapted for dozens. The first humans to observe it said simply, it's home. That's all. Everything else, survival. The Tharix Empire never returned, and the galaxy learned that the most dangerous weapon was not in a human's hand, but under their feet, all around them, and in the very structure of their life.